Hello, it's your boy Davidoff. Welcome back to Ultraseven Reviews Episode 2. If you're wondering where I'm doing this one episode per review, at the moment, yes, and it's because at my workplace, I changed jobs in July. My new workplace works a bit differently. In my old workplace, I get the same days off and everything. But in my new workplace, Christmas is very busy, just like my old workplace, but at my new one, there's different rules. So they change your schedule for December. And I got to work every weekend. I still get days off, but I get less days off than before. There's 1 week I go to work like 6 days out of 7 instead of 5. So I got to work extra hours, and it's part of the contract just for December, just for 1 month per year. But it is pretty busy, and I have less time because of it, because I have to work more hours and I get less days off. But I still get some days off, so it's just better if I just keep waiting for the opportunity to have 5 episodes to review in one go. We'll be waiting forever, so it's good to get some reviews out of the way. I'm obviously prioritizing the Cosmos reactions and the Arc reactions, so I need time for that, and obviously time for other channels, so I need to balance it out. But when I got a spare half an hour to watch an episode and then a spare half an hour to review it, I can just do that instead of just waiting for the moment to watch 5 in one go. So at least we can get some reviews in the bag, and to keep it regular as possible, because we don't want the gap, the months gap that we had with Ultraman 1966, of course. So hopefully we can at least have one episode reviewed, hopefully once a week. I can't promise that though. I don't want to promise things and then it doesn't happen. It's not good to do that. But even like once every 2 weeks, that could happen. But I want to speed that up after January, because then I'll have more time. But until then, one episode reviews are good though, because we get to focus a video on one episode, and then I feel like it's better for the reviews anyway, so it's a good start. But I don't think I'll be doing it for the whole show, just so you know. Obviously there'll be 2-parters anyway, but apart from that, you might see videos where I review 5 episodes in one go. That will still happen. Anyway, episode 2 is called The Green Terror. So the kaiju in this is called Alien YL. So obviously one of you guys mentioned that it's this series, the villains are mostly alien invasions rather than mindless kaiju. There are kaiju in there, but they're mainly controlled by aliens. It's very alien invasion themed. So I'm intrigued about that. I'm intrigued about, constant aliens until episode 49. I'm very excited to see how that goes down. But yeah, this one looked like a scary alien vegetable. Yeah, it was a little bit like that, that had controlling powers. So it starts off with 2 women. There's a wife and there's a maid. I didn't know who they were at this point, but the wife is called Mitsuko. She is the wife of a team member that was returning for the TDF from space, from Space Station V3. He was there for 6 months of duty. He's returning, and the start of the first scene was his wife and their maid and their house, and I was like, oh, that's who that is. I found that out later on. But anyway, at the start, the wife and the maid, they find this mysterious object in the driveway. It's a silver object, metal. To us, to the viewers, it's just like, yeah, this is alien, but to them it's just like, what is this? This is weird. And she was just like, cool. And the maid said she'll call the police. And then the wife drove to the TDF base to see her husband, who was returning, obviously, after 6 months. At this point, I thought the maid was suspicious, because when the wife left, the maid started walking towards the driveway, looking to see if she'd gone. So I was just like, did she call the police or not? Because at the time, I was just like, what if the maid is an alien? That's what I was thinking by this point. So yeah, and I also, what I found quite funny was, what's his name? What's the, Ishiguro. Ishiguro, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but Ishiguro is the guy from the space station. So he comes back and he's basically on vacation from his job, and they ask how long he's off for, and he's like, only a week. And I just instantly thought, because I sometimes watch videos of Japanese interviews. There's I can't remember his name, but there's a YouTuber who's Japanese, and he interviews Japanese people on the streets, just asking them questions in Japanese, and he also interviews tourists in English. So I watch his videos because he subtitles them. So he always sometimes he asks people do you love living in Japan? And people say good things, but the main negative is you don't get many days off. That's the main negative. You work and work and work, and you don't get that many days off. I don't know the exact like number. I guess it depends on the job. But apparently that's like a big thing. It's like you work. The days off, the vacations are not as much as you'd like them to be. So in this show, I felt like that scene would have been relatable. Like, this guy has gone to space for 6 months. He comes back, he's only got a week off. It's an extreme example, but I'm just like, I instantly thought of those interviews of Japanese people who say the lack of days off. Like, I remember there was a comment that said, the positive is you get to live in Japan. The negative is you have to work in Japan. But yeah, that's like a different conversation. But I thought, I feel like that scene would have been relatable to some people, at least some people in Japan, and obviously around the world as well. There's plenty of people who don't feel they get enough days off. But yeah, Mitsuko, did I mention her name? Mitsuko's the name of the wife. So the TDF, the T stands for terrestrial. I thought it was Tokyo because it takes place in Tokyo. So I thought it was Tokyo, but it's Terrestrial Defense Force. That makes sense. Why would it be Tokyo Defense Force? Are they just defending Tokyo? No. It's about alien invasions. Yeah, it makes sense. But I thought it might be Tokyo because of the T. Okay, but now I'm thinking about it, it would have been stupid to call it Tokyo Defense Force because they're not just defending Tokyo; they're defending the world. So yeah, Dan uses his powers, but without transforming. So his eyes start glowing blue. I'm just like, oh, this is pretty cool because you don't see that much. I mean, you see it more nowadays, but I feel like in the old shows, you don't see it as much where the human host is using like scanning powers. But anyway, his eyes glow blue. He's trying to scan this rock. He sees this rock in the driveway, this object that they can't identify. He's seeing it in Ishiguro's driveway, and he can't see through it. He can see through things, but he can't see through this thing. But he recognizes what it is. It is Tilsonite 808. It's not from Earth. It's a metal from outside Earth. It's a metal produced on planet Wyal. So yeah, Wyal, obviously alien Wyal you see later on down the line. Once again, the maid acted a bit suspicious. Also at the start, I forgot to mention. So this object, this metal object they saw, she was meant to call the police. There was also a mailman that came in and gave a package to the maid. So later in the episode, the maid hands the package to the wife in the most mysterious way at nighttime. It was just really weird. I thought to myself, sorry, that was my alarm. That was my alarm. Anyway, I thought to myself, because the way she gave the package to her, I thought to myself, nah, this maid's an alien. Like, this whole time I was thinking, this maid is an alien. Like, surely she's acting so weird. Why is she acting so weird? I couldn't have been more wrong, as we find out later on, because it turns out it's Ishiguro who's actually, well, it's not really him, but someone controlling Ishiguro's form. I mean, it's not even him. Like, it's imitating Ishiguro, so it's not the real Ishiguro. Ishiguro's at home, and he tells his wife to go to sleep. She gives him the package. She tells him to go to sleep, and he locks the door, and then he opens this package, starts laughing, and then the object outside, which somehow still not been moved yet, starts glowing green. So when it starts glowing green, he turns into this alien Wyal, and it looks. I found it funny at first because of the way it was coming out the window. But anyway, he turns into the alien Wyal. Wyal goes out and starts terrorizing a drunk man and takes over his body. Well, it takes over his body, but I think it like consumes him. Like it needs human blood for food or whatever, but I think it more consumes him, which is interesting. So while alien Wyal is out, the human form of Ishiguro is gone. So like at home and on the floor is just his clothes, empty clothes, nothing in the clothes. He is just completely gone. I'm just like, this is interesting. So when he goes into Wyal mode, he just gets out of his clothes and goes away. Interesting way to do it. So he starts going out at night on rampages. He kills a lot of people. There's one scene. They don't show all the kills, but they show one scene where there's a guy dead in the street, and then the guy's taking an ambulance, and the guy that was dead in the street turns into the alien and attacks the ambulance driver and the paramedic, and the ambulance falls off a bridge and it explodes, and Wyal doesn't die from that, which is interesting. I guess it's maybe it's immune immune to fire. But yeah, the wife in the morning comes along with I think tea, probably tea. Maybe it's coffee, you never know. Considering Ultraman arc. But she comes in with tea and she notices the door is locked. Like, why is the door locked? And at this moment, Alien Waiao comes back in, gets back into the clothes, and he's back into human form inside the clothes. He unlocks the door, opens the door. The wife is asking, like, why did you lock the door? And he's just like, it's just instincts, I always lock doors at TDF base. I can't remember the exact words he said. And she's just like, we're at home. What's going on? Why are you locking the door? She's noticing something is wrong. She's finally noticing something is wrong, which is good, which is progress. But she still doesn't fully notice that it's not actually him. So that's another thing. She might just think, oh, his behavior is a bit weird. Oh, maybe he's got PTSD from something. That's probably what a lot of people would think, to be fair, the way he was acting. They wouldn't think he was secretly an alien. So eventually people in the town start not going out. They start locking their doors, they stay in. So Waiao goes out looking for prey, and there's no prey. So Waiao is starving now. So there's a scene where Waiao comes to the door of his own home, of Ishiguro's home, and he scares Mitsuko and the maid, terrifies them, doesn't come in the house, just stands outside, seemingly to threaten them. So they're terrified, and then Waiao disappears, and obviously fake Ishiguro comes in the house, and he's like, what's going on, are you okay? Checks outside, there's no monster, and tells the maid, don't call the police. You know how much of a joke it would look like if a TDF member house was attacked? No, that would be embarrassing. Don't call the police. I guess it's a valid excuse, but also suspicious. Suspicious, but the wife agrees with him, even though the maid is suspicious. Thankfully, the maid, obviously because the wife obviously loves her husband, even though it's not actually him. It looks like him, sounds like him, talks like him. Obviously, she's going to think it's him. But the maid doesn't have that same love. I'm sure she loves her job. Maybe she doesn't. But the maid isn't blinded by that what his wife would be blinded by. So the maid contacts TDF. So Dan and Jane go to their house because there's a mysterious sound coming out of his drawer, which is the little object. I forgot to mention the little package was more tilsonites. So it was a little version of the tilsonite. So there's a big tilsonite in the yard and a small one in the home. And the small one seemed to be a key component to controlling Ishiguro's actions, and the big one is at the base now, so they took it to the base. So then you get this scene with the little tilsonite. So Dan decides to hit it with a hammer. Jane is like, are you sure it will break? He's just like, yes. The Dan knows a little bit. Obviously he can't tell her why he knows, but he knows it can break. He whacks it with a hammer. So at the TDF base, the big one is there with the whole crew watching it. So when he hits it with the hammer, the one at the base also breaks. So the big one also breaks at the same time. They break at the same time. And it turns out, inside the small one is a little like electric brain with a transmitter. So this is what's controlling, I forgot his name, this Ishiguro. It's what's controlling Ishiguro's body, the fake Ishiguro's body, controlling his form. And inside the big one is the real Ishiguro. The real one is inside the big one. And he's like strapped up with like wires and stuff. So I'm assuming they're using his body and then copying him as a host to the transmitter. Something like that. I don't know, it's complicated. Dan's the expert, not me. So I have the excuse. So at least they found the real Ishiguro, because I thought to myself, what if the real one is dead? Because that's very possible. It's dark, but it's possible. He is not actually dead, he's just trapped inside this thing. Thankfully he is alive. But the fake one is on a train with his wife Mitsuko, and he can't help but turn into the monster. So he wants to avoid turning into the monster on the train, but he can't resist. It just happens. Obviously it's not actually him, it's the alien. Obviously the alien is still not wanting to turn on the train, but it does eventually, scaring the crap out of his wife, because from his wife's perspective, her husband has just turned into this massive alien monster. So now she realizes that it's not him. Finally she realizes, which is fair enough, because for once it doesn't look like him. For once she knows like he turned into the monster. So everyone starts running away. This scene confused me a little bit because Everyone starts running away, running out the train. Dan and Jane get there. They get to the mountains and they see the people running. They help the people. So they run towards the train, right? So when they run towards the train, the wife is still running. Like, she's not running, she's crawling away because she's terrified. She's crawling away from the monster. The monster's not taken her life yet. Which makes me think, what if it didn't want to? Because I feel like it had time to take her life, but it didn't want to, which I thought was interesting. This is not the part that confused me, no. But the part that confused me was, it was daytime. The people running, it was daytime. They went to the train, and it was nighttime. And I was just like, how long has she been running from this thing? Why is it nighttime now? They get in the train, they get her out of there, they come out, and it's daytime again, and I'm just like, oh, so it wasn't nighttime. I was just so confused, because it looked like it was nighttime, but were they, like, under something? Because they didn't allude to that. Oh, no, I think I answered the question. I think it was like a tunnel. I think they were underground. No, wait, but the monster turned at daytime. They were not underground when it turned. When the train stopped, did the train stop? I need to rewatch that scene. But I was just like, wait, what? Why was it light then dark then light again? What was going on there? But I feel like there's an easy explanation. I feel like they were like in a tunnel or something, even though it didn't seem like they were at the start. But yeah, they save her, and then Alien Waiao turns into giant Alien Waiao. And obviously Ultraseven, Dan transforms, tells Jane to look after Mitsuko, and he goes and transforms. And what I found interesting during this fight, so they have this fight, it's a fun little fight, and Jane says Ultraseven, like she's cheering on Ultraseven, and then the team who are arriving on their jet, they don't see any action, they just arrive. What a waste of fuel, right? But they also say Ultraseven, and I'm just like, did I miss a scene again? When did they start calling him Ultraseven? Episode 1 happened, they just saw him, they didn't say anything. Episode 2, they're already calling him Ultraseven. Since when did they start? Who named him? What was? They just literally just. I'm confused. I'm confused again. What? Wait. So when did they start calling him Ultraseven? Did they just randomly start calling him Ultraseven? Did they have a secret meeting that we did not see as an episode? I just thought that was a little interesting. The transformation was a lot better this time, of course. And then in the end, the Ice Slugger. I know the name this time. I had to write it down though. But the Ice Slugger slices he slices Waiao in half like a vegetable. I mentioned it looked like a vegetable. Yeah, it looks like a giant, scary vegetable. But the way he sliced it in half, it really like fell down in 2 pieces like it was broccoli or something. I thought it was quite funny. And then it was destroyed in the end. So yeah, that was the episode. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. I liked episode 1 more, but I did like this one. I thought it was an interesting story. Yeah, the whole time I thought, oh, this maid is an alien. No, the maid was an alien. The maid was the good person. The alien was the person pretending to be the husband that wasn't really the husband in the end. And in the end, you get a reunion with the husband and with Ishiguro and Mitsuko. The real Ishiguro. At first, she gets scared of him because she thinks it might be the alien again, but it's the real one. And they finally reunite, which is a nice, wholesome moment. So that was a good episode once again. I'm looking forward to seeing episode 3 at some point, hopefully next week. My next day off is... So today's Monday the 9th. My next day off is Friday. So yeah, I do have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day off. So I might record some extra there as well, because on Christmas Eve I'll just be recording videos. Christmas Day I'll be relaxing, day off. But either way, like this Friday I got the day off. I'm going to the cinema though, but I might see if I can fit in a review. If I can't, then I'll do one next week. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of this show. Plenty of episodes to go, which is great. This is your boy Davidoff. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day and goodbye.
Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time.